I'd like to thank you very much at the very beginning for inviting me and letting me express some of my ideas to you. Let me greet Justice Arya, Chief Justice of Punjab, probably, if I am right. And also Professor Dharminder Kumarji, the Dean of Gita Institute of Law, and Abdul Sattar from Maldives, and all other colleagues who have been gathered to discuss this very important issue. I thank you very much for picking up this issue, which is in a very corner of the discussion of legal academics in South Asia. We are very active to pick up some very important issues of great events, but we often forget those issues which actually are keeping our society in problems. So I think both sociologically and anthropologically, this issue is very important to discuss among youngs and very young students, like who often love to talk about ITO and WTO and all these kind of international issues, and they prefer to join big companies, big multinational corporations and all these kind of things. But let's discuss about what are these very painful problems in the society, in our part of the world where society is still largely divided between rich and poor, between one religious groups and another religious group, and men and women, all these kind of things. I mean, sometimes we want to do something very good, but because of this problem in our society, often create big hurdles. They create a psychology where our activities get into problem. So for that, I would like to thank you very much and inviting me to speak on this very issue. For your information, like Nepal, though is a very diverse country in terms of ethnicity and also religious faith. We do have around 5% Muslims community, around 1% community. It's around 10% Buddhist community, and largely, we generally don't say Hindu, rather we say different traditions of Vedas, I mean Vedic traditions, so Vaishnavas, Siddhistic, and other. So what we see very importantly in Nepal is like, we often don't know who is Buddhist and who is Hindu per se. Like we have the same gods to worship, and when I go to Buddhist temple, monastery, then I find a Hindu goddess, a Hindu god over there, and nobody knows, I mean, who actually he or she is worshiping. So that's a tolerance that we have among Buddhists and Hindus, and we all even do not mind marrying between two peoples of these two different sects. Sometimes even we don't know who actually belongs to Buddhist or Hindu. So that's a kind of tolerance that we have. So I have no hesitation to say that we have no problem between Hindus and Buddhists. We have two types of Muslims in Nepal. One type of Muslims is basically indigenous Muslims who have been there for at least 1,000 years, and they live in hills and mountains and in the plain areas, but they're quite culturally integrated with other communities. So it might be quite funny to listen that in one of the neighborhood that I live, there is a Hindu temple, but this Hindu temple's committee to renovate and protect is Muslim. So Muslim heads the temple committee who gets funding from the government. And there is a masjid in another part of Nepal where this masjid has also a committee to receive fundings from the government and do renovations and other activities, but this is headed by Hindu. So that's the kind of tolerance we have. Professor Kaur referred to one incident during COVID in Nepal regarding Muslims, isolations and stigmatization, but that's not among Hindus and Muslims. That was among Muslims themselves. What was the issue was like some Muslims did not want to lock up the masjid during COVID, but others wanted to do it. So that was a conflict, not between Hindu and Muslims, but it was among more conservative Muslims and progressive Muslims themselves. Like some of them wanted to completely lock up the prayers and all that, but others wanted that, no, that cannot be happen, something like that. So we do have to say that we don't have one minority, one religious minority by another religious group is suppressing and committing crime. One of the major reasons is that we don't have a personal law system in Nepal. We have an integrated secular legal system. So for example, we don't have a problem of Muslim women going to courts to seek for divorce under the same law which Hindus go for. So since we don't practice kind of personal laws, then we don't find actually within legal and justice system who is Muslim and who is Hindu and who is Buddhist. This is what we have almost 100 years long practice for that. Therefore, what is often I do talk with this kind of issues is that, have we ever heard something, or have we ever looked into the issues? Actually, we still are impacted by the values and the strategies introduced by the colonial rulers in the past. Is a major issue that we have to delve into. So that's why I often call it decolonization of our jurisprudence is very important if we really want to secularize our system of law and justice, and therefore create a very cohesive interdependence between various religious minority groups. Sure, have we ever talked about what the British introduced during 1870s called Criminal Tribes Act? Have we learned much about it? Have we educated our students why British did it? And what kind of psychology it created that time? And have we even thought about that this legacy left by colonial regimes is a kind of system that one minority group is not properly functioning. And therefore our laws are not properly functioning also. And these laws often become instrument of violence between different religious groups themselves. So this is what is basic kind of thing. So my trust and my hypothesis at this point, what I love to speak to people generally is that if we fail to decolonize our system, that means our principles of laws and our principles of jurisprudence, we fail to secularize our legal system. We fail to secularize our democratic system. And we fail to secularize also our economic system. So this is the right time for South Asia, India being economically becoming so vital nation and also becoming a center of South Asia with its small friends around. Indian universities and Indian academics should much more focus on bringing colleagues from other countries together and think about our system more sociologically and anthropologically and devise a new kind of South Asian jurisprudence. We should not be parroting all the time that what common law said is our true legal system, true principles, true jurisprudence, because this preaches for the centralist legal system. It always focuses on what is written in law, but what is legal culture that we have in our grassroots is quite different. So why don't we therefore make a bigger research that is necessary for our part of the world? So that's why I would like to request all of you to join April 27th and 28th symposium on contextualization of jurisprudence, which is being sponsored by Asian Association of Law Professors and Rajiv Gandhi National Law University as a host organization, and Hubei University of Economics and Business Law Schools, and Kathmandu School of Law as co-host organization. So that is how we have started talking in Nepal. Let's contextualize our jurisprudence. If we contextualize our legal and judicial system, we properly address the crimes against minorities, and we can also fairly rationalize our criminal justice system based on our own system of law and justice in the past, which talks about cohesive interdependence of ethnic groups and cohesive interdependence of religious groups. Otherwise, I think we may fail. So with these words, I would like to thank you again for giving me a chance to speak, also inviting me to this program. I would urge you to do a lot of this kind of activities, and I'm very much happy and to be proud of Gita Institute of Law taking such a nice initiative. Though I go to India teaching in many universities, many things are very superficial. We do talk only financials, corporate bodies kind of thing. If we do not create our strong foundation of society, economy does not work. That's what I believe. So I would be happy to invite you also in the days to come. Sometime I love to visit your institution in the days to come. Thank you very much.